When I was 8 years old, my father took me to the Rex Cinema here in Strumban to watch a rerun of a Bruce Lee film. Now, I can't remember the name of the film. It was such a long time ago, but I remember the feeling, the rush, the excitement. After the film, I came back home, I took a coloring book, and I tore the pages, leaving only the covers. And I started drawing a cartoon of Bruce Lee fighting bad guys. And I also wrote a short story alongside it. Now, it was an atrocious looking cartoon, but I was very proud of myself, so I showed it to my father. My father looked at it and he said, "Hey, not bad. You should be a writer and a cartoonist." That was the first time I believed I could be both. That little boy who drew the cartoon, the atrocious looking cartoon of Bruce Lee, has grown up to be me. I'm Sukhbir Chima, a writer, cartoonist, and the co-founder of an Asian arts and culture online magazine called Accentrica. Accentrica, I co-founded it with my wife, Ista Kaira, and she too is a writer and an artist, and actually an amazing one. And she too, like me, believes that the arts is actually essential in helping us understand who we are and our place in this world. Now, we have a third member on the team, which is our daughter, Sitare. She is the CEO of Accentrica, cute, energetic organism. Yeah, she definitely keeps us on our toes. Anyway, since 2016, Kyra and I have interviewed more than 1,000 creative people and art organizations since 2016. And from poets, playwrights, theatre makers to award-winning filmmakers, we started noticing patterns. Patterns in not just in the way they create their art, but also in the way they survive doing it. Now, here's what we learned. We learned that people crave the art. People crave vulnerability, protest, humor. People crave art that reflects who they are. They also crave art that helps them imagine what they can become. This is why a lot of parents send their children for art lessons, painting classes, ballet, storytelling competitions. But somewhere along the way, the same parents, either out of fear or love, they start discouraging their children from pursuing their artistic ambitions. Now, I know this because when I was 15 years old in school, I was given the choice between choosing the art stream or the science stream. My parents very gently nudged me towards the science stream. Their reasoning was that, dentists, doctors, engineers, these people get paid more. Artists, very hardly. Now, I don't fault my parents, but as I grew older, I started to realize that this was a symptom of a larger issue. What is it? We live in an ultra-capitalist world, a world where money has the loudest voice in the room, where value is measured through likes, views, and revenue. So it's no wonder that being an artist can at times feel like you're playing a game that you did not sign up for. Now, Kyra and I know this. And so today's talk is especially for those of you who want to creatively connect with people, who are artistically inclined, but you are, struggling, and you also don't want to lose your soul to the system. So here are 7 lessons that we learned after interviewing creative people. Now, good artists, they ask themselves why they're creating art. And typically there are 2 reasons. The first is to be a commercial success. The second is because they have something deeply personal and deeply meaningful to share with the world. Now, some artists, they stay squarely in one camp, others bounce between the two. There is actually no right or wrong. As long as you know why you're creating your art, you will be able to set boundaries, manage your expectations, and stay focused. Now, because we run an Asian arts and culture online magazine, majority of our readers are young artists, up-and-coming artists, and they often come to us and ask us for advice and stuff. And so if you are a young artist or someone who is creatively inclined and you want to go full-time, our best advice is find a job that creatively fuels you and not starve you. And once you're financially ready, that is when you make the plunge. Now, this brings me to my next point, which is learn personal finance and basic economics. Now, many artists I know, they are not fans of numbers. I used to be one of them. When I was working at the Kuala Lumpur Performing Arts Centre, sometime between 2016 to 2018, I often found myself being broke. I don't know why. Every month I get my paycheck, no money. But just to give you some context, I actually come from a very poor family. My mother was a factory worker. My father, he was a bus conductor. So we did not have access to financial literacy. Anyway, one day while I was driving to work, I tuned in to BFM. BFM is a Malaysian business radio station. And on air was this business coach, Jeevan Sahadevan. And he said something very interesting. He said, when you start saving money, something magical happens. When you start saving money, something magical happens. And I remember laughing out loud. What magic are you talking about? With my salary, I can't even save anything. What magic is this guy talking about? But he added, he said, no, hear me out. Start with any amount you can, any amount, and watch what happens. So I started saving. I started saving with 50 ringgit, 100 ringgit. Then I gradually increased to 200 ringgit. And then something interesting happened. I started asking myself, how can I increase my savings? How can I start earning more? And I started reading books about personal finance. I started listening to podcasts. I started watching videos. Now, I'll be very, very honest with you. Learning personal finance has not made me a millionaire. But it has given me a sense of control. And with it, a sense of dignity. This dignity matters when you're raising a family. This dignity matters when you're an artist who is trying to build your life. Now, speaking of life, health is very important. Prioritize your health. I used to smoke 1 packet of cigarettes every day. That is roughly around 500 ringgit, up in flames, just like that. Now, I have a twin brother. He has cerebral palsy. That means he can't walk or talk. He's mostly wheelchair bound. Sometime in 2019, he fell sick. And that was the first time he was hospitalized very badly. He was very, very sick. He had phlegm in his lungs. And that was the first time I actually thought that I was going to lose him. And so I'm not a religious person, but I do believe that there is some higher power out there. And so I made a deal with life. I said, life, look, if my brother recovers, I promise you, I'll quit smoking. 2 days later, my brother recovers, and I've been smoke-free since then. Now, there is a myth in the arts and culture ecosystem that in order to produce good art, you have to suffer. That in order to unlock your creative potential, you need to ingest substances. That is not true. I have a friend of mine from India. He's an artist. His name is Ajish. He once told me something very beautiful. He said, Sukhbir, if you need substances to create art, then you're not being a true artist. Because a true artist is already intoxicated with life itself. So, what do you do when you're creatively blocked? You go for a walk. You go for a jog. You work out. You dance. And if you can't do that, that's absolutely fine. Listen to music. Read your favorite books. Watch movies. Go out and meet your friends. Healthy artists create amazing art. Health is fuel. Salvador Dali, he creates trippy artworks. Someone actually asked him, hey, Salvador, do you take drugs to make your art? His response was, I am the drug. And this brings me to my next point, which is it's all here in the mind, psychology. When you understand what motivates people, fear, joy, shame, you start to create art that speaks to them. And more importantly, you start to understand what motivates you. You start to understand yourself better. why you fear failure, why you fear rejection. Psychology is super important because it will help you to understand how trauma shapes human behavior, what motivates people. And more importantly, you will learn how to engage with your audiences better. And this will help you build your career as an artist. Now, psychology is one thing, but artists, and everybody actually, we all need a compass in life, a sense of direction. And where do you get that sense of direction? You get it from philosophy. Philosophy. Now, many artists I know are not religious. I am not either. Now, my mother, because of my special needs twin, she couldn't afford medical treatment at that time. 30 years ago, medical treatment for cerebral palsy was very, very expensive. And so she could only afford to go to temples, churches, mosques, monasteries. She was looking for a cure for my brother. And so this experience of visiting these places of worship gave me access to a lot of philosophical belief systems. Now, my mother is not religious, but she's spiritual and curious. And this curiosity has shaped who I am today. Today, I look to philosophy for guidance. I ask myself, what do I believe in? What values do I live by? Philosophy is a friend. And more importantly, make friends. Make friends with everybody, not just artists. Talk to ministers, talk to journalists, talk to activists, talk to everybody, cleaners, bus drivers, prisoners. The more people you know, the better your understanding of the world. And when your art reflects the world in all its beauty and mess, people will pay attention. Now, in a profit-driven world, we are often thought that competition is the way to progress. But actually, that's not true. True value lies in connection and collaboration. Friendship will keep you going. And to keep going, you need to track your progress. You need to track your progress and share your learning. Identify 3 areas you would like to improve as an artist, and also 3 areas you would like to improve in your life. And then share your journey. Share your mess-ups, share your joys. Sharing makes you visible. And when people see your art, they will help you grow. So how do you be an artist in an ultra-capitalist world? You ask yourself why you're creating art. You stay curious about money and meaning. You take care of your body, mind, and spirit. You create a philosophy. You build your own code. You ask big questions and let your life lead into the answers. You also make friends. You track your progress. You share your learnings. And most importantly, you keep writing. You keep drawing. You keep making music. You keep showing up. Just like that boy who drew Bruce Lee years ago, that atrocious looking cartoon of Bruce Lee, he is still with me, still creating, still asking, how can I move people the way Bruce Lee moved me back then? Thank you.